U.S. trying to continues to try to destroy Nicaragua. Nicaragua was recently rated as the country in the world where the people have the most peace of mind. So in many ways, the most peace-filled country in the world. When polled, and we're talking massive polling. We're not talking they asked 4 people. Nicaraguans had a higher percentage of their time they have peace of mind than any other country. So the U.S. is trying to crush the most peace-filled country in the world, which is kind of par for the course. That's kind of our rep on the street. We're kind of known for that shit. This is coming from popularresistance.org, an excellent source. We often repost their stuff at radndmedia.com. That's my media aggregator site, radndmedia.com, where you can get your news every morning. And you get it from, it's not me writing it, it's coming from a lot of great sources. Anyway, the headline is New U.S. Sanctions Bill Designed to Bring Misery to Nicaraguans. As we all know, the U.S. already has imposed sanctions on Nicaragua, but they haven't yet brought, and the other reason the U.S., to just interrupt real quick, the other reason the U.S. hates Nicaragua is because they are socialist and in many ways, and they've privatized the state assets and things like that. Also, even though they're not very wealthy there, partially because of the economic war by the United States, people are happy. So people live happy lives, far happier than in the United States, and yet it's not an incredibly wealthy country. Well, we can't have that, right? That looks really bad. That's that's what Chomsky called the threat of the good example. You can't have a country just being poor and happy. The fuck? What if Americans see that and think that could work? That would be horrifying. So the U.S. already has sanctions on Nicaragua, but they haven't yet brought about the kind of hunger and poverty and suffering that some U.S. policymakers think is necessary to overthrow the popular Nicaraguan government. So there is a new sanctions bill co-sponsored by Marco Rubio, who's one of the top pieces of shit in Congress, and Tim Kaine. So isn't it great? You're seeing the Democrats and Republicans come together on this. That's amazing. I thought they didn't agree on anything. I thought Democrats and Republicans are just polar opposites, like two magnets that don't attract. They never come together on nothing. Oh, wait. They actually agree on 90% of the structural issues of this country and foreign policy 90% of the time. I just remembered that. Isn't this beautiful to see them come together? Tim Kaine, Marco Rubio, former presidential candidate for the Republicans, Tim Kaine, former vice presidential nominee for the Democrats, coming together to crush or try and crush the most peace-filled country in the world. So they're coming up with a new bill co-sponsored by the two of them to increase unemployment in Nicaragua, crush the Nicaraguan economy, decrease revenue for the government's popular programs so that the government will be less popular. The stated goal is the overthrow of the Nicaraguan government. So they just admit this outright, that the U.S. is basically, if you're trying to overthrow a country's government, even if you're not using guns, does that not mean you're at war with them? So apparently, without stating it, we're at war with Nicaragua. What have they done to us? I'm just wondering if anybody could throw it in the comments in the chat there. What was it that Nicaragua did to the United States that meant we needed to go to war with them and overthrow their government? Because it just slipped my mind. I know it was something. It was like, wasn't it like a Pearl Harbor type thing? They like attacked our Navy and just blew up tons of ships and everybody was running away on fire. Just, right? Nicaragua did that, right? Just a couple of years ago. That's why we're at war with them, isn't it? It was like a Pearl Harbor thing. But it was in Norfolk, right? I don't know if I have that right. Maybe someone throw it in the comments what it was that Nicaragua did to us that fucked us up this much. The article continues. The stated goal is to overthrow the Nicaraguan government and a free and fair election to replace Daniel Ortega. I love the idea of we're going to coup your country to bring you free and fair elections. We're going to crush your society to bring you free and fair elections. Another target is the repeal of the foreign agents law, a law in Nicaragua that prohibits, get this, you ready for this horrible thing? Prohibits foreign governments from funding its elections and requires the registration of lobbying activities on behalf of foreign governments. So Nicaragua has something in their law is stopping foreign governments from funding their elections. And the U.S. is furious because we apparently have the right, or should have the right, to purchase every other country and purchase their governing body, then have the resources sold off to us. So yeah, purchase every other country. That law stopping foreign countries from invading their elections is very similar to U.S. laws, but the bill's authors demand that foreign governments be allowed to underwrite political parties in Nicaragua's elections. That's why they call it the sovereignty bill, because all of the sanctions bills are ironically named. Literally, this is a bill trying to create a coup in Nicaragua, and it's called the sovereignty bill. These people are sociopaths on just like a whole other level. Like you can't even, I mean, it'd be like if your next door neighbor came over and set your dog on fire and then said, I did it for Dog Health Day. I did it because I love your dog. It's like, you are a maniac. The fuck? It was bad enough to set him on fire. Now you have to tell me you did it for his health? The new bill calls for suspension of Nicaragua's participation in the Dominican Republic Central American Free Trade Agreement. Yeah, no other country can have a free trade agreement that doesn't just give everything to the United States. That's not allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. The U.S. government will be ordered to review any benefits that Nicaragua might receive from the agreement. Like the idea, the gall of like, we should get to review everything you buy or purchase or sell, or because, you know, we're the U.S. and you did that horrible Pearl Harbor thing where you destroyed all our ships, right? Nicaragua did that. Anyway, that's the gist of it. We're now ratcheting up our attempt to destroy the most peace-filled country in the world, according to polling.